Hello, it's Carolyn and I'm making dinner. Ooh, let's get this all straightened up. I'm making dinner and, that light is not good. Let me try this again. I haven't chatted in a while because I've been super busy. Normally I publish one book every 1 to 2 years, and I have now published 4 books this year. So my opportunities to talk on social have been farther and fewer between, and I'm finding it hard to plan. So I thought, you know what? I'm making dinner. I'm just going to go live and answer all your questions about Helen Hadsell, Tag Powell, manifesting, law of attraction, maybe even that new video I put up on YouTube about how Helene went into the astral realm. She gives you the, she did astral projection meditation that I put up there, which was part of her lost files. So I thought I would share that. If you love Helen Hatsell, be sure to go to my blog at wordsforwinning.com, because I keep putting up things there that have never been published before. And I also have republished all of her books, and now I'm slowly making them into audiobooks and translating them. So it's exciting stuff. And next year I'm going to start publishing tag stuff. My first book is going to be Money and You. And I'm finishing my own book called Prizes, Prizes Everywhere, because I also teach people how to win sweepstakes, like Helene did back in the day. But it's a totally different game. And if you like winning sweepstakes, this month, December, is known as sweepstakes season or advent calendar season, because every company you can think of is holding 12 days giveaways, 24 days giveaways. It's crazy, especially over on Instagram. Facebook, it used to be mainly Facebook, and then Twitter was thrown in, and I haven't seen that much on Twitter anymore. It seems the big shift is to Instagram. And then Facebook would be second, and I've seen some here on TikTok. So if you like sweepstakes, go follow me at Contest Queen, because I wear 3 crowns. I also have a marketing crown where I do sweepstakes marketing, but that poor lady's a little bit asleep as I work with the other 2. I only have so many hours in the day. So if you have any questions about law of attraction, manifesting, leave them in the comments and I'll answer them. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk generally. One of the questions that a lot of people have been asking me recently, isn't it funny how they all come in waves, is they're really struggling with manifesting money. And I think that's because it's the time of year. Bills increase, you're spending more, you're buying gifts, you're entertaining, there might be travel, all kinds of things. And so funds might be a little bit tighter. And so people are looking to do that. It's actually one of the reasons I sweepstakes, is because if you read the book, The Prize Winner of Defiance, Ohio, what she would do, Evelyn Ryan, she would save all the prizes as Christmas gifts for her kids, because she had 10 children. And that's how she used to muddle through. It was, it's quite interesting. That one, I highly recommend that book. And actually, from a manifesting perspective, if you watch the movie or have read the book, Evelyn manifested her house. She manifested the money she won the money to buy her house. And then when there was a mortgage due, her husband had taken out a mortgage on the house, but she didn't know about it because that was the day. And she manifested the money to save the house, to pay off that mortgage. So that's an interesting story. And actually, the last time I passed through Defiance, Ohio, I was taking pictures, and the current owner of the home stopped by. Had just come home from work, and I asked him, and he said, yeah, there was a lot of memorabilia left in the house for them. So I think it's just kind of staying with the house now. But if you like that movie, I highly recommend watching it, not from a sweeper's perspective, but from a manifesting perspective, and how Evelyn manifested everything she needed in life. But unlike Helene, Evelyn, I don't think, lived in the end result because she was struggling a lot. And so I don't know if she ever had everything she wanted. However, Helene did manage to live in the end result, but it took her a while to figure it out, just like all of us in life. We don't learn everything all at once, or we come out of the womb as college professors, knowing, all these things about our one subject that we want. We're here for an experience and a journey, and everybody's journey is different, but the tools are the same. We all have the exact same tools to manifest this life we're living. And some of us make art and some of us make a mess. As Robert O'Hara was one of my favorite teachers, and he said, sometimes you have to blow up the laboratory when you're experimenting. And sometimes it takes out the entire neighborhood. Yeah. We've had those. Some of us have had those at times in our life where everything just, it's kind of funny. It's funnier when he says it's not so much fun when you're in it. Anyway, I think that's the part that most people struggle with. So Helene was famous for her SPEC method: select it, project it, expect it, collect it. And it's an expansion upon the famous ask, believe, receive. She took the believe and split it into two, which I'll explain in a second, but we need some water for these potatoes and I'm not going to cook. So, I guess I could hang out here. We'll just move. That's the beauty of the stand. So what she did was the same, SPEC is the same, select it, and the S in SPEC, select, is the same as ask. Now, one of the keys is to be specific. One of my favorite examples of this is Jack Canfield was teaching a course, and they were working on this type of exercise, and one of the students said, they're going around, what are you writing, all this stuff. And one student said, I would love more money. I want more money. Jack's like, oh, I can solve that. Reaches into his pocket, pulls out a quarter, and tosses it at the gentleman. And the gentleman's like, what the heck is this? He said, more money. He said, well, I want more money than that. He says, well, you weren't specific. You just said more money, and you manifested instantly more money. What do you want? And if you read the Name It and Claim It game, you will notice that Helene was specific when she was deciding to get back into sweepstaking and was picking out what she wanted to win. She wanted to win a car, and she envisioned the car that she wanted. She wanted a car with, a blue car with white interior, I think. Or am I getting that crisscrossed? But she was very specific of what she wanted. And it just makes it, Johnny, human. Human is my choice. Thank you. I am actually good, but I'm disappointed in myself because I don't get to come on here as much as I would like and teach because I have been so busy. So this year I published in paperback and Kindle Helene's final book, which was actually a fiction book. Now, isn't this amazing? This woman in her 70s decides that she wants to learn something new. She never, ever, 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 ever stopped learning. Right? I'm just going to fix this a little bit. Helene never stopped learning. She took a fiction writing class and wrote a book. It took her over 10 years to write this book. Because she had the idea, she was going to write it with somebody else, germinated, and I guess she finally thought, oh, I'm just going to do it. So the idea came to her from the book Robinson Crusoe. that if, in the book, Robinson had a man called Friday. And she thought, wouldn't it be interesting if anybody could have a man called Friday? So what she did was she took a little bit of everything that she loved and rolled it into this fiction story. So the protagonist answers a very vague ad. If you go to my website and look at the ad, it's a vague ad, and they want someone to be on contract for a year and able to travel, and that's all it says. It kind of says call now. So he answers this ad of this very famous author. And this author, so, like she ties it in, she's this famous author, he would like this person, Alex, who becomes a man called Friday, to go help people and then write back and report how the journey was, and then he was going to turn those stories into a book, a little bit like Chicken Soup for the Soul in a different way. So Alex takes on the role, and how the people are picked that he's going to help is that the author is friends with a gentleman who owns a bunch of radio stations, and they're holding a contest. Again, Helene loved her contesting. So they had to write in as to why they wanted to win a man called Friday for a month to come and help them. And everything was paid for. Like, Friday, had a stipend, I believe that's the right word, and, his travel was covered, etc. Anyway, so each chapter is approximately one family or person that he helps. And it's interesting because they vary greatly. And for fiction, like I write nonfiction, fiction is so much different than... I'll leave those. Yeah, we'll just cook them all. Fiction is much different than nonfiction. So the best advice, if you want to write a book, nonfiction, the best advice I got was write out the table of contents and keep writing. And what I did was to keep momentum is I wrote the easiest chapters first. And by then I had like half a book. And then you think, well, I've got to finish it now. At least I did. And so it made it much easier to complete the task. However, fiction, you have to lay it all out. You have to have the characters. You have to have the story arc. You have to make sure that it flows. It's a completely different animal, as they say. And I was very fascinated at how well she wrote this book, because as I was editing it, because I had never read it. I didn't read it until I was editing it. And I was fascinated as to how I didn't know what was going to happen next. So I thought she did a good job. And it was a bit I thought it's a bit cheesy. It's so cute. She even has on the original cover that it was a little bit Hallmarky. Like a Hallmark movie, and she wasn't wrong. And so I published that one in January. Then I started on and then then my next big project was I went to Florida and bought the rights to all of Tag Powell's work. And he was Helen Hadsell's second publisher. Now, she met him through Jose Silva because Tag was a Silva instructor. And he wrote a Silva Mind Mastery book, amongst other things. At one point, I ended up getting in touch with him because he had published her second edition. And then I found out he was an author in his own right, so I bought the rights to his books because he was at end of life. He had had a stroke and had COPD, and I knew he wasn't long for the world. And if I didn't buy his work, it would also die with him, and he didn't want that to happen either. So I bought the rights to his work, and it was, I think, easier because he had seen what I had done with Helene's work and was wanting to make sure that his work lived on. So that was that project. And then when we came back from that, I started the first Audible book, the Name It and Claim It game. So that's available on Audible. And then I started on In Contact with Other Realms. And while I was recording In Contact with Other Realms, I started working on the first Spanish edition, and because Spanish is the 4th most spoken language in the world. So I had I had the Name It and Claim It game translated, and now that In Contact with Other Realms is out on Audible, I have just ordered the Spanish translation for that, so that'll be out early next year. I'm thinking February. I'm thinking February or March timeline. I'm not quite sure. Somewhere in there. And we'll see how long it's all dependent on the editing. Of course. Of course. So, okay, we've got beans, we've got potatoes, we've got the chicken in the oven. I should make some gravy. All of the gravy packets. We'll just use it. Do I have a chicken one, or are they all turkey? Oh, we have a chicken one. I know, my life's so glamorous. I always joke when I'm folding laundry and doing contest clean videos because, you know, I win lots of prizes and I go places. Like last year I had an epic year. I won 2 trips in a 100-inch TV, and this year I was so busy I've hardly entered at all. Oh well. It really is, winning, it really is converse to your effort, which is kind of like anything else in life, right? If you really want to reach a goal, you have to focus on it. It's not rocket science, it's effort. And determination and positive thinking. All those things all rolled into one. So I'm just going to add some hot water to this. And then we'll whisk it. I know, cooking with Carolyn. That's what this show is turning into. That's actually an interesting thing. I actually won an award for cooking. I entered a chili contest and I came in 3rd. I won this huge basket of prizes, which was amazing. One of the things I found out about Helene Hadsell is she wasn't a fan of cooking. She was kind of a plain Jane cook and liked things that were easy. Lots of casseroles. Like if you're reading, I think it's In Contact with Other Realms, how she makes a tuna casserole with cashews and potato chips. I'm thinking, I've looked up to see if I could find the recipe to share it. I can't find one. So if anybody out there has the recipe for, there was I think there was noodles, tuna, cashews, potato chips, maybe celery. I don't know what else. I'd have to go look it up. It sounds like it might be one of those flavors that you're accustomed to in the 60s. I don't know. It just seems very odd. And anyway, she wasn't big on cooking. It's why I think she actually put microwave. If you read the Name It and Claim It game, one of the things she wanted to win was a microwave because she had one and she loved it and she wanted another one for their cottage. And I think it's because she didn't like to cook. Because, let's face it, you can throw something in the microwave and heat it up really, really quick. I think she liked that. She liked doing that where she didn't have to cook very much. I mean, I'm a little bit lazy too. This is a Costco chicken that we bought yesterday. Had it for dinner, having it for dinner tonight. So easy. And you can just make it 100 different ways. Sometimes I stir fry it after, sometimes I do So yeah, you can manifest an easier life by just not cooking as much. Like Helene Hadsell. I find it very funny how her and I are very much alike in a lot of ways. In some ways, totally different. Like, one of the ways her and I are alike is we both like to contest. We're both authors. Um, we both talk. We both were Toastmasters. That one I think is crazy. I actually emailed Toastmasters to find out what years she was a Toastmaster and which club. And they actually told me. I have to go find that email because I had a problem and I had Microsoft helping me fix my email. And now I got to sit and clean it all up. But it was so cool. So I want to add that to I did a blog post on how Helene Hatel was a Toastmaster because I found one of her speeches, and our club meets every Tuesday at noon Eastern, and we're only an hour. Like, a lot of clubs are in the evenings for 2 hours, but our club is called Lunchtime Talkers, so we meet at noon for 1 hour. It used to be in person at the local library, but now it's just mainly Zoom, and then the first of the month we always do a hybrid meeting. And Lunchtime Talkers. I love Lunchtime Talkers. So we're also Toastmasters, and we're both avid readers. Like, we have a lot of parallels. But where we differ is I'm technically savvy. She was not. And I know this especially when I got the last edit of the Name It and Claim It game. She kept adding to that book right up until 2010. So even the books that she printed in 2003, whoops, I'm bubbling here, are different than, I can turn it down a little. Even the books she published from home in 2003, the 2010 edition that she did, the year she passed away, like, she never stopped editing, but she had zero editing skills. And it was also 13 years ago. Technology wasn't the same. She wasn't technically savvy, so she would edit. She'd want to add something to the book, but she didn't understand layout or any of that stuff. So she would edit with the space bar and the return key. So I had to move full chapters around. I had to reorganize it so it would print on I do print on demand with Amazon and Kindle. So I had to move things around to make them all fit and flow, because she didn't know how to do that. She just was like, oh, I want to talk about this, and she would just stick it somewhere, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't belong there. Oh, that doesn't belong there. This belongs here. And I made it so now when you read it flows. Like, at the end there's a section that says bonus material, which actually I had in that order, but I didn't have the heading. And when we were doing the Audible book, the producer goes, this sounds really weird. You need to say something here about all this extra stuff that she had added in and that I added in, because she had sent me articles to share before she passed. And I guess she wouldn't have sent them after she passed, right? That would be crazy. And so I added them in too, because I'm like, well, this is what she was teaching, so why not add it in, bonus material? But I didn't have a heading, so we, little things like that were updated. And so we have them all sectioned off. So the first part is the 1971 edition, and then the second part and the third part of the 1988 edition. And the bonus materials is everything she added after that and taught after that. So it was kind of cool that I just, I added all that in. I really love Helene. She's so cool and she's so funny. Anyway, I keep going through her stuff and I keep adding things. So if you go to my website, wordsforwinning.com, and click on blog, you'll see that I post stories and articles that I find in her files that seem appropriate for the times. And like, I found a Thanksgiving story, and so I posted it at Thanksgiving. Actually, I found two, so one I posted a week later, so I didn't want to jam up my blog, so I share things over time. So I found things that were related to Thanksgiving. So I shared them for everybody. I just found one for New Year's, so I'm writing that blog post to come out on January 1st, which will be really cool. So stuff like that, I find her things and I share them in a timely manner. So if you really want to learn more about Helen Hatel, just keep following me there as I share stuff. And my goal, I'm taking a YouTube course, is to share more on YouTube, Shorts, TikTok, Reels, that kind of thing. But the lives, I love the lives because people ask me questions and I can answer them. So anyway, I just did a whole skirt while I was making dinner. Back to SPEC method and why it's not working for a lot of people. Yeah, I'll put that there. The SPEC method, so S stands for select it. So you pick what you want and you have to be specific. And I went over that with the Jen Canfield story. Believe, the ask, believe, receive. Believe was broken up into two: project it and expect it. And it took me a while to figure out that she also meant energize, but it doesn't rhyme. It's not as fun. So project it, she never taught this, but I figured out reading all what she's saying. Project it is up here. It's visualizing it. So she did the card exercise in the Name It and Claim It game where she wrote out what she wanted to win. So every time she saw it, okay. So she's visualizing it. She sees it in her mind's eye, what she wants. So project it's up here. You can think on it. You can journal it. You can put it on a vision board. You can make notes. Anything, it's up here. It's mental. The part that gets people in the belief is the E, expect it. Living in the end result as if it's already happened. And a lot of people have trouble with that. So say I wanted to move house because I'm in my kitchen. I wanted a house with a bigger kitchen because I find this too small to cook in. Let's just make up a story. Actually, it's fine, but we're making up a story. So I'd really like a new house. So people go, okay, yeah, I really want a new house, but I don't have money. The market's not good. I can't really sell right now. They have all these like stories. But I really want a house. So they go, okay, I'm going to get a house. And they put it on their vision board. But then every time they're in their kitchen, they're like, this kitchen is terrible. I can't work. The key would be to be grateful and to act as if you are in a big kitchen. So, for example, I'm at the stove. Oh, I love this new stove. It has all the bells and whistles that I've ever wanted in a new appliance. Look how shiny it is. And it helps me cook everything perfectly. And you feel it. You feel it as if it's already happened. Thank you so much. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm in my new kitchen. Cleaning the counters, scrubbing the sink, putting stuff in the dishwasher. Oh my gosh, the best appliances. Oh, it's so wonderful. And you can just see yourself standing there and you're giving it energy. It's the E. Expect it. Energize. Kind of like Star Trek. You can just picture the energy. Even visualize that energy. Energize yourself into the new kitchen. And when you do that, oh, somebody's home for dinner. I'm doing a live. How was your drive? Well, I guess I better go. But I can't go until I finish because if I leave you here without the C, that kind of screws up the whole chat, right? So C is the same as receive, right? Ask, believe, receive. So SPEC is select it, project it, expect it, collect it. And then collect it, which you would think is the easiest part. But think about how you receive things in life. If someone gives you a gift, are you like, oh, you shouldn't have? Yeah, they should have. Someone pays you a compliment. Well, this old thing? Oh, thank you very much. Think about how you are allowing into your life. Because if you can't even take a compliment, why are you going to get that new house? Think about that. Think about how. So what I want you to become for the next, do it even just for a few days. Do an experiment. Become the observer. Listen to the little voice. Notice what you were saying to yourself while you're doing certain things. Don't even try to participate in manifesting. Just observe. That's all I want you to do, is just observe. Be observant to your thoughts and your reactions, especially what you feel when something occurs, and what dialogues are you continually repeating to yourself. My goal was actually finish one more book this year. And I noticed as the year went on, I kept starting to say to myself, I don't have enough time to do all this. And then something would happen and it would waste an hour. And I'm like, see? And the universe is going, you keep saying you don't have enough time, so we're going to make sure you don't have enough time. And I went, got it. I don't need to be head over the head with the 2x4. I got the message pretty quick. Right? Helene talks in her book about 3 messages. Getting, when she's going to Peru, she had 3 signs. I don't need to be told 3 times sometimes. I just need to be told once. That is another key to master. But we're going to end on that note and head over to Words for Winning as I'm building the site and sharing more of Helene's work as we go along. And stay tuned, because I'll just start popping on here until I can formalize a schedule for 2024. Oh, this doesn't want to end. There we go.